Hey everyone, Dave Savage here with Danny Horanyi with Caliber, having another sales script and sales strategy call with you guys. Danny, for anyone who, again, I don't know if anybody hasn't heard you in mortgage coach land now, but tell everybody what market you're in and how much production you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. In the San Diego, California market, last year our team helped 875 families, and we closed about 381 million.
Boom. And what's the goal this year, brother?
1,200 for 565. So 1,200 families, 565 million.
Well, make sure you keep us updated on how that's going for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So Danny and I had a great conversation a couple days ago, and I'm like, hey, we got to get this recorded. We got to do a Skype video on this. And so here it is. So Danny, you're out there telling the mortgage coach move up analysis story with agents. Why don't you just tell us what you're doing, and let's try to pull a script out of it for everybody also.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're basically working through our top accounts and sitting down quarterly with them. And then we're also bringing this conversation to our new agents that we're meeting with. We're getting very, very active as far as, looping in listing agents and buyer's agents that, came through listings that we were on and making sure that we're getting those appointments. And the total cost analysis is a huge part of that conversation. In fact, the one that we just had, it was on Tuesday that I gave you that call, that conversation, 50% of the conversation centered around the total cost analysis and how they as an agent can leverage it in their open houses, in their listing presentation, with their buyers for counteroffer analysis. And then we all of that transitioned over to the major pain point, which is that there's no listings, right? That's in our market right now, there's no listing. So inventory is under 2 months. It's just a massive problem. 22 offers per property, 18 offers per property. It's just crazy. So we were talking about, in theory, them going back in and just picking out a sample of 15 or 25 closings that they had in 2011 or 2012. And the reason we honed in on those dates is twofold. First reason is that it's very likely that somebody who bought in 2011, 10, 11 has a significant amount of equity that they're going to be able to move into another purchase. Second reason is that a 10, 11, 12 buyer probably is starting to feel the lifestyle pressure that typically motivates a move. And that's the primary thing that drives somebody to move is, they need more space or their income's grown and they're looking for an expansion of, their lifestyle and zip code or view or some other aspect of their lifestyle that they're looking to expand. And what we're finding with the data is that people are resisting that and they're not moving because of one reason or another. And what the move up analysis allows them to see is that feeling that they're having, that they're afraid that, moving up's not a good time or that, they should just stay put because there's a lot of uncertainty, that in fact, if they did move and transfer some of that equity, either all that equity into a new home or ideally, based on the numbers right now, a portion of the equity into the new home and then a portion of it into some other investment vehicle. And in fact, we even discussed with this agent a previous opportunity where we had shared a seller selling their house, buying a new primary residence, and then buying another investment property, all showing how those numbers really translated out into a financial win for them from a net worth standpoint. And for the agent, it turned a buyer in that situation. It turned one buyer into a buyer, a seller, and then another buyer. So 3 transactions instead of one, and it was the right thing for the client.
So everybody, I want to hope everybody's connecting the dots here. Danny is having a review with an agent. He's saying he's doing them quarterly. I know some folks that do them monthly, do them every other month, quarterly. So he's having a quarterly review. A big part of the conversation is talking about how to use the total cost analysis at open houses, in listing presentations. And now we're talking about, hey, let's together go out to some of your database that's most likely to be in the position to move up. In his market, that's the profile he just described. In your market, could be totally different. So Danny, how many different potential move-up buyers are you guys going to target and reach out together to?
So they're going back to their database now, and we're going to meet in 2 weeks once they've identified those candidates. And the goal is somewhere between 15 and 25. And then what we're going to do is they're going to send us that database. We're going to put together the total cost analysis presentation for each one. And then we're going to go back to their office and jointly record a video where we then present that message out to the client.
So guys, is everybody in Mortgage Coach Land hearing this? Because, I mean, most markets, there's not a lot of listings. So they're partnering with an agent to say, hey, who are the 10 to 20 families that are most likely to move? I'm going to put a case together with a move-up analysis using the mortgage coach. Then we're going to sit in a room together and we're going to make a video together for each one of them. I mean, wow. I mean, talk about partnering, talk about delivering value. Of course, Danny, I can't wait to hear how many listings you create. And remember, everybody, not only is it a listing, it's also a buyer. And in Danny's case, because they're such great strategic, trusted advisors, they'll be able to look at some clients and say, hey, based off your equity, we could sell this home, you could put some money in the bank, you could buy an investment property. I mean, they're basically going to be saying, hey, families, let's move up and let me show you how to create more wealth with real estate. And they're partnering with agents to tell that story and deliver that value. That's awesome. So, hey, Danny, I like to keep these under 10 minutes. If you could just do 1 minute of scripting on, how do you start that conversation? I know you spent a half an hour or so with the client, so asking you to net this out in a minute might be a big ask. But if there was a minute of scripting that we could pass along to the mortgage coach community, what would it be?
So absolutely, and really, it's all about opening the door to the total cost analysis conversation in that agent conversation. Once the door is open, the momentum happens very quickly. So the way that we open the door is by starting the conversation around the referable buyer experience. So basically representing that we know the biggest pain point for an agent is that fear that the lender's going to embarrass them, and it's going to cause them to have to struggle with trust building with their client, or potentially even lose their client if they make a bad lender referral. So we try to build a very strong case for this is the system that we follow that's consistent every time, that you can trust is going to happen, and none of the system is going to embarrass you. And in fact, when executed properly, it'll make you, the agent, look like a trusted rock star. And a big component of that is the total cost analysis. As soon as we get into showing that, it really just, the snowball starts to roll down the hill.
Love it. And when you're having this conversation, are you using your mobile device to show a specific scenario, or are you using an iPad? How are you kind of visualing the total cost analysis within the Realtor conversation?
For us, so far, the initial presentation is done usually up on a kind of a big screen, either at our office or at their office. We have the computer plugged into the HDMI, but then we'll go and show the display from as if I was the client, or as if one of my, business partners, Sam or Bill, was the client, and then they pull it up in an email and show how the experience looks from the perspective of the buyer.
That's awesome. So you're like demoing your borrower experience.
Right.
In a multi-channel way. You're showing it on the screen and you're pulling up the app, and they're probably just going, wow, you guys are rock stars. So
yeah, they have to be able to picture it in their mind. When they're referring, they have to be able to see this is what's going to happen. As soon as this name and number goes over here, they know the whole story and they can see it in their head. Because if they can't see it in their head exactly the way you want them to, they're going to see all the pain that your competitors are creating for them.
This is awesome, brother. Hey, so everybody who's listening in, I created a playlist for Skype videos. I created a playlist for scripts. So there are other scripts like this where, they're just quick hits. I'm trying to keep them under 10 minutes. Obviously, this one took a little more than that. But Danny, this is huge. If you could keep us updated. Also, everyone, I look up some of my other interviews with Danny. We did a whole call on 5 realtor strategies. So earlier when he mentioned the counter offer analysis, and you're like, what? What's that? There's a video in here. Just do a Google search, counter offer analysis. Also, your cross qual analysis. So in our YouTube channel, there's so many videos from Danny that are just epic, and a few of them are only a couple minutes long. So check those out. So hey, Danny, keep us updated. Also, I don't know if you'll ever do this, but it would be cool to get a picture or a video of you guys having that realtor conversation with using Mortgage Coach it would be cool to have a photo or a video of that someday.
Yeah, sure thing. I'll keep it in mind. It's in the reticular activation system now. So I'll just, next time it'll trigger, man.
All right, brother. Well, hey, thanks for this value, man. This is super valuable. Also, folks, we will put a link to one of Danny's total cost analysis in the description below. So just look below in the description, and there'll be a link to at least one of Danny's other videos. Thanks, brother.
Sounds great, Dave. Talk to you soon.